The Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or SNAP, is a name many people might not know, but its older name, food stamps, is familiar to almost everyone. This program is one of the most significant ways our country supports families who struggle to afford food. It is not a small effort. On any given month, millions of Americans rely on SNAP to help put meals on their tables. Children, seniors. The program provides a monthly benefit on an electronic card, which works very much like a debit card. This card can be used at grocery stores. This card can be used at farmers markets. This card can be used at other approved retailers to purchase eligible food items. The scale of this program is immense, touching nearly every community in the nation. Understanding SNAP is not just about understanding a government program, it is about understanding a major force in our food economy. When so many people receive a dedicated budget for food, at the same time each month, it creates a powerful and predictable flow of money. This flow does not just go from a person's card to a single store, it travels up the entire food chain. Local grocer, large distribution warehouses, multinational corporations that produce the packaged foods we see on the shelves. Because this flow of money is so large and so consistent, it has the power to shape the decisions that food companies make about what they sell, and, crucially, how much they charge for it. The question of whether SNAP contributes to rising food prices is a complex one. It touches on economics, human behavior, corporate strategy. There is no simple yes or no answer that satisfies everyone. However, by following the path of the SNAP dollar, we can begin to see how this steady stream of funds creates a unique market environment. This environment can, under certain conditions, make it easier for food sellers to raise their prices. This is not to suggest any bad intent on the part of the families using the benefits. It is simply an observation of how a large, guaranteed source of demand can influence a market that is always looking for ways to maximize its profits. The story of SNAP and food prices begins with the simple fact of its size. Think of it as a river of money that flows into the food system on a reliable schedule. Every store that accepts SNAP knows that at the beginning of the month, a significant portion of its customer base will have fresh funds specifically designated for buying groceries. This predictability is a valuable asset in the often unpredictable world of retail. It reduces risk for the store owner and, by extension, for the food producers who supply that store. This reduction in risk is the first key piece of the puzzle, creating a stable foundation upon which pricing strategies can be built and tested over time. Let us follow the journey of a single SNAP dollar to understand its path through the food system. The story begins when the government loads a family's monthly benefit onto their EBT card. The family then goes to a local grocery store to buy essential items like milk, bread, eggs, vegetables. At the checkout counter they swipe their card, and the cost of their groceries is deducted from their balance. To the family, the transaction is complete. But for the money, the journey has just begun. The grocery store does not get paid instantly in cash. Instead, it records the electronic transaction and later gets reimbursed by the government. Once the store receives its payment, it uses that money for its own expenses. A large portion of it goes to pay the wholesalers and distributors that keep the store's shelves stocked. A distributor for a large soda company will get paid, as will the supplier for a national brand of cereal. These distributors, in turn, use that revenue to pay the giant food manufacturing corporations that made the products in the first place. So, the dollar that started on a family's EBT card has now made its way into the bank account of a major food conglomerate. This journey happens millions of times a day, all across the country, creating a vast and constant revenue stream for the biggest players in the food industry. This process is highly efficient and incredibly reliable. Food companies that sell products eligible for SNAP can look at the data and see exactly how much of their revenue comes from these government-backed sales. They know that this demand is not tied to the local job market in the same way as other spending. Whether a factory in town has a good month or a bad one, the SNAP benefits will still arrive. This creates a baseline of sales that is almost guaranteed. For a business, a guaranteed customer is the most valuable customer of all. It removes a significant amount of guesswork and risk from their financial planning and sales projections. This is where the story takes an important turn. When a company has a secure and predictable customer base, its relationship with pricing changes. In a normal market, raising a price is a big risk. If you raise the price of your cereal, customers might switch to a cheaper brand or simply buy less. But if a large portion of your customers are spending from a dedicated food budget that they receive each month, their behavior might be different. They may be less sensitive to a small price increase, especially for a staple item they need. This perceived lack of price sensitivity gives the company a unique opportunity to test the waters and see if it can charge a little more without losing too many sales. The consistent demand created by SNAP benefits acts like a steady current in the turbulent ocean of the food market. Most consumer spending can rise and fall with the economy, seasonal employment, or personal financial emergencies. If a family's car breaks down, their grocery budget is often the first thing to be cut back. They might buy cheaper brands, they might skip non-essential treats, they might eat out less. This fluctuation makes it difficult for food companies to set prices, but the SNAP portion of the market behaves differently. It is insulated from many of these day-to-day economic shocks, providing a floor for food demand. This floor is incredibly valuable to food manufacturers and retailers. Imagine a large corporation that sells a popular brand of macaroni and cheese. It knows that a certain percentage of its sales, perhaps 15% or 20%, consistently comes from SNAP households. That allows the company to plan production and distribution with confidence. It knows it will sell a minimum number of boxes each month. This security is a form of business insurance. It lowers the risk of investment in new products. It lowers the risk of marketing campaigns. It lowers the risk of supply chain improvements, but it also changes the calculation when setting prices. Why might a SNAP recipient be less likely to change shopping habits after a small price increase? The reasons are practical. First, benefits are for food only. The money can't be saved or used for other emergencies, so there's an incentive to spend it. Second, many families aim to get enough food to last the month. A 10-cent increase on a loaf of bread or a 20-cent increase on a gallon of milk may be frustrating, but not enough to make them switch stores or brands, especially if time is limited or transportation is limited. So a company can raise a price and watch. A box of crackers costs $3. The company raises it to $3.15. A budget-conscious non-SNAP shopper might switch to a $2.50 store brand, but some SNAP customers may still buy the $3.15 box. The new price stays within their monthly food budget. If enough SNAP buyers keep purchasing, overall revenue can rise even if a few cash customers leave. The steady demand from one group can subsidize a price increase that affects everyone. Let's zoom in on a single shelf in a grocery store to see how this plays out. Imagine two brands of pasta sauce sitting side by side. One is a well-known national brand, priced at $4 a jar. The other is the store's private label brand, priced at $2.75. The national brand knows that it has a loyal following, and a significant portion of its sales comes from SNAP households who prefer its taste or have always bought it. The company behind this brand decides to run a small experiment. In a few dozen stores in a specific region, it raises the price of its sauce from $4 to $4.25, a modest increase of about 6%. The company's data analysts then watch the sales figures very closely. They are looking for an answer to a critical question. Will the increase in revenue from the higher price be greater than the loss in revenue from customers who stop buying the product? They separate the data between SNAP purchases. They separate the data between non-SNAP purchases. They might find that sales to cash-paying customers drop by 10%, as many of them switch to the cheaper store brand. However, they might also find that sales to SNAP customers only drop by 2%. The steady demand from this group acts as a buffer, absorbing much of the financial impact of the price hike. After running the numbers, the company might discover that the experiment was a success. The small loss in sales volume was more than made up for by the higher price paid by the customers who remained, a large number of whom were SNAP participants. The result is a net increase in profit. Once the company has this data, the decision becomes simple. It will likely roll out the $4.25 price to all of its stores nationwide. The price of that jar of pasta sauce has now officially gone up, not just for SNAP recipients, but for every single person who shops in that grocery store. This is a classic example of price discrimination, but it is done across customer groups rather than to individuals. This process is not a one-time event. It is a constant, quiet cycle of testing and adjusting. Companies may test price increases on different types of products. They might focus on items that are considered staples, where demand is less elastic, or they might target items that have few direct competitors. A small increase here, a tiny bump there. Over time, these incremental changes can add up. The end result is a slow but steady upward creep in the prices of many basic food items. The stability of SNAP demand, a program designed to help people afford food, ironically becomes a tool that can be used to make that same food more expensive for the entire market. The story does not end with a single company raising the price of its pasta sauce. The effects ripple outward through the entire food ecosystem, creating wider consequences for all shoppers. When one major brand raises its price without a big drop in sales, competitors take notice. The other national brand had held its price at $3.90. The market leader is selling well at $4.25. That gives them a green light. They raise their price to $4.15, positioning themselves as still cheaper than the leader but more expensive than before. This is sometimes called price leadership. The largest firm sets a new price, smaller firms follow. Before long, the entire category becomes more expensive. A small data-driven test by one company becomes a market-wide increase. A family without SNAP, perhaps working class, just above the poverty line, walks into the store. All their favorite brands are more expensive. Their wages haven't risen, their cost of living has. They're forced to make harder choices, buying less food, switching to lower quality options. The ripple shows how market structure can transfer wealth. Additional profit flows upward to shareholders of big food firms. Financial pressure rises on households without SNAP. In this way, the program can have an unintended consequence. It still delivers crucial aid to low-income families, but the way aid flows can create a pricing environment that disadvantages another group of struggling families. This is the subtle, often invisible cost. Steady, inelastic demand from subsidized buyers changes risk and reward for food companies. It lowers the risk of raising prices. That doesn't mean prices wouldn't rise without SNAP. Inflation, supply chain costs, many other factors. However, SNAP's structure can act as an accelerant. It creates a pocket of demand less responsive to price changes. Companies are financially incentivized to find and exploit such opportunities. The result: shelf prices may be higher than they otherwise would be, affecting every person who walks down that aisle. We have followed the SNAP dollar from the government to the family through the grocery store, into the coffers of large food corporations. We have seen how the program's great strength, its reliability, can be turned into a market advantage for sellers, potentially leading to higher prices for everyone. This is not an argument against SNAP itself. The program is a vital lifeline that prevents hunger and improves nutrition for millions. It's an argument for smarter program design and for better monitoring of market effects. We are at a fork in the road. We can ignore these dynamics or consider small changes to create a fairer market. One policy idea: make SNAP benefits requirements stricter with proof of citizenship and make drug tests randomly preformed like those of the ones that work and fund the program. Today, benefits are not monitored or held accountable to the citizens who work and pay for the benefits. Just like the medicines, if companies are using SNAP recipients as a base to raise the prices of groceries, with customer base that is dull to price adjustments, they should be mandated by the government on price raises, since they are using the government to increase prices on everyone, perhaps quarterly, and tied to localized food inflation. If a company raises prices commodity and those increases should get SNAP approval to raise, SNAP benefits could rise modestly to compensate. That keeps purchasing power stable. Recipients wouldn't absorb the hike with corporate greed without a limiting factor. Their demand becomes more elastic and responsive, like a cash-paying customer. This reduces the incentive to view SNAP households as mass-marketing honeypots. Another thing SNAP should be for: nutritional value. The non-essential items should not be covered. Chips, soda, candy should be meals for survival food only. It free no law against them buying luxury side items. Firms would have to compete for every customer's dollar, relying on quality and on value, rather than predictable quirks of a government program. It's not a perfect fix, it needs better, faster local price data, but it suggests a way for the program to adapt to the markets it shapes. Ultimately, SNAP and food prices show that in complex systems every action has a reaction, not all of them intended. SNAP succeeds at feeding people, yet its interaction with a profit-driven industry can nudge prices up. Understanding that dynamic lets us pursue thoughtful policy adjustments. The goal: do not weaken the safety net but strengthen it so benefits reach families without driving up food costs. First step: see the system for what it is.